Hello, class, and welcome to Career Preparation. My name is Matt Studebaker, and I am a lecturer at the Woodbury School of Business. And before we get started, please make sure to like and subscribe so that way you don't miss out on any of my content, and that way this content is saved to your YouTube channel. That way you can access this information later and use it hopefully to help better yourself and your career aspects. With that said, today we're going to be talking about online branding, and specifically we're going to be getting into LinkedIn. So with just some statistics to help you understand that we need to be online. So this kind of helps us, this driving force of this, okay? And I'm going to read these off. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on them just for the sake of the video, but 70% of job seekers are searching for opportunities on a mobile device of some kind, whether tablet or a smartphone or something like to that extent. 51% of job seekers find social and professional networks to be the most useful resource during a job search. More than 1 out in 10 recent hires found their current jobs through social media. Okay, 73% of millennials found their last position through social media. 31% of candidates expect customized messages from employers to reach out to them for job opportunities. So it's important for employers to know that. And then 68% of millennials visit a company's social media properties specifically to see about their brand, to see if it's something that matches with their values. 84%, and this is in regards to the companies themselves, okay? 84% of companies are using social media for recruiting purposes. And this is just getting higher. Eventually, it's going to be 100%. 91% of employers use LinkedIn, and the recruiters' marketing reduced the overall cost of hiring by 20% for more than 20% of companies because they're using social media and other online platforms to recruit, because it can be very expensive. 71% of recruiters said social media recruiters were effective in decreasing time to fill for non-management salary positions. 70% of hiring managers say they've successfully hired somebody on social media. I am one of those 70%. Recruiting passive job candidates is the top reason organizations use social media for recruitment. Social media and social media recruiting software was the top planned technology investment in 2017. And then 79% of employers believe that social media marketing will be the most in-demand HR skill by the year 2020, obviously last year. So it's just that much more this year. And this is just a helpful site infographic that I like. I'm not going to go too much into it. This is like top social media channels that you'll see typically out there. What people don't realize is that LinkedIn, Glassdoor, and Indeed, these are all career-related sites. They are technically social media platforms, social media channels. And so because you're creating accounts and you're messaging people, okay, following certain pages, it has a similar characteristics, specifically LinkedIn, but you can find those characteristics on Glassdoor and Indeed as well, where people can talk about the companies or talk about the positions, and there's more of a personalized message and touch to them. And so it kind of just dives into that. And so, like, for example, we'll talk about Glassdoor and Indeed because we're going to talk about LinkedIn later. But Glassdoor is the second largest job search site next to Indeed. They get 50 million unique visitors a month. Indeed gets over 200 million unique visitors every month. 89% of users are actively looking for jobs to get on Glassdoor, okay? And whereas job seekers are influenced by employer reviews by 80% or more on Glassdoor, and they have over 18 million employer reviews on Glassdoor, or on Indeed. Sorry, those last two for Indeed. And so it just shows us there's just a ton of activity taking place on these. But for this, we're going to talk more about LinkedIn and why you need it. Okay, so these are some just insane statistics just to show you that we really need to be on LinkedIn. 91% of employers use LinkedIn. That's over 20,000. Nearly 90% of surveyed companies had successfully hired at least through LinkedIn. Every Fortune 500 company has representatives on LinkedIn. When making purchasing decisions, 50% have business buyers that use LinkedIn. Microsoft actually bought LinkedIn back in 2016 for $26 billion. LinkedIn is going to catch Facebook and Instagram in revenue and active users. They expect that in the next 5 to 10 years, which is just crazy to think, but it's true. LinkedIn was the 17th most popular website in the United States, and 1 out of 3 professionals on the planet are on LinkedIn right now currently. Okay, so that's why I have the picture of the 8 ball. Don't get stuck behind the 8 ball. That's a negative term in pool because you can't hit the 8 ball, and so it just makes things really difficult for you. So if you're not on LinkedIn, you're hurting yourself only. So let's talk about LinkedIn accounts. And before we start diving in, like how you should make your LinkedIn account, one of the things is that what people include these a lot on their resumes, which I encourage, but when people include them on their resumes and they haven't customized the URL, you get a URL kind of like this, where it's kind of like all these letters and numbers and stuff. So just go into your account. This is just images from mine. Click edit public profile and URL. And then you'll click the little, once you're there, you click the little pencil icon, and you can customize your URL to whatever you want it to be. So if there's lots of people with a similar name to you, mine is Matt Studebaker. I'm pretty unique, although there are some people in Utah that have that name. There's very few. But John Smith, right? Well, a lot of people are going to have that. Maybe you can customize it to where your middle initials in there or something to give you more competitive advantage, and then just save it when you're done. That way you can include that. It doesn't have all this kind of crap attached to it on your resume. It just looks a lot more clean and crisp. Okay. And now let's talk about probably the most important part of LinkedIn. It's probably the most overlooked component, is your headshot. The recruiters are 21 times more likely to click on your profile if it has a picture. Okay, it's true. Okay, if your profile picture is of you professionally dressed, it adds 14 more times the clicks on top of that. Notice I said if your profile is of you professionally dressed. Okay, a bad headshot's the number one reason why candidates are disqualified when doing an online review. It's our first impression of you. Okay, and what we see matters in regards to if you're going to be professional or not. And it's, like I said, it takes 6 to 8 seconds to garner a first impression, and that's usually the first thing that we see. And so if we're seeing it's not a professional picture, it just hurts you. Okay, so according to like Sherm, okay, dress exactly how you'd want to look for the job interview. Eventually, you'd want to get a studio image, like a studio grade, kind of like the one that I have here. That way, it's just more professional. But for the time being, just get out your phone or get a camera and take a picture of you professionally dressed and use that for the time being. And most cameras on phones or anyway have a lot of photo editing, so it's fine. And so we want roughly about shoulders above. Your face should take about 50 to 60% of the picture. Okay, not dominating. We don't want like a huge thing right in front of your face. And make sure it's middle. It's not dominating the circle. And then some helpful suggestions. And your photographer may do this. Just have you turn a little bit so you're not like, it's not a mugshot. Okay. There are examples of bad headshots. And so these are just some few, and these are terminology that, I've had, or what I found, or what other people call them. But, this just shows this, we call this the mystery or the introvert. You're just not showing anything about yourself. You're hiding something. That's what it looks like. The squeezed, like the camera is not set to the correct parameters. And so it's just kind of squish it in there. The blurry picture, or the X, like the mystery arm hanging around the person. The miles away, if I can't see your face, it doesn't really serve a purpose to have a picture. The unprofessional obviously is no good. The widescreen with the bars coming down, okay. Camera shy, like it's a picture of you, but I can't see your face, and you're close, but you're just not showing me your face. The logo, right? The thumbnail, just a really small picture. The shadow, you can't see them because their face is shaded. The selfie, which is very clearly a selfie. The creepy, right? So there's lots of examples of bad pictures. So just get a nice picture of you professionally dressed, and then make sure that it's positioned correctly. Background banner, remember that first impression is whatever your first impression is. And so by having no background banner, it essentially looks like, you got the blue background for here. You see, like you got the this blue background here. It just shows you haven't really updated or customized your page there. So here it is. And so you want to update it. Okay, it just no pictures, just not updated. It's no professional brand. You just don't care about your online reputation, experience, whatever. So you do need to update this. So there's a different parameters, and you can Google these and they'll have some of these parameters, but there's lots of things you can use. You can promote your brand or company, a photo of your work page, tools of trade, awards, accomplishments, professional community, clients, employees, city skyline, landscape, quotes, social media handles, whatever you feel is relevant. Okay. Now the headline. So this is about 120 characters to work with here. And so by default, what LinkedIn's going to do is it's just going to give you your title, job title as the headline here. So we'll say, like, for me, it would be university lecturer. The problem with this is like it doesn't really tell me outside anything you do for your job. And so I'd rather want you to focus on is things like unique selling position or your industry or hard skills, keywords. Okay. Instead of saying university lecturer, say university lecturer, experienced manager, 15 years, and vocational hiring expert. So you're getting a lot of things in there in a short, really concise statement. Okay. But what if you don't work in your industry yet? Maybe you're like a student, right? I have a lot of students in my class. Or maybe you're unemployed. First of all, don't put unemployed. Okay. You're highlighting your weakness. We don't want to do that. Focus on things like pursuing or future, maybe future marketing strategist or pursuing marketing strategist position, something like that. But don't finish there. Maybe say something like future marketing strategist with 3 years customer service experience, expert knowledge of point of sale systems, right? And so it's just focusing on the positive and what you bring to the table. The about section. So this is actually what will show up when people Google you. So you'll see it here on the page. You actually see experience university lecture, experience university lecture. So that's what's actually popping up. And so this is important that you have this. People don't have this. You're just missing out on opportunity to show yourself more in Google searches. So it can be a lot of things. It can be your elevator pitch. It can be a branding statement, combination of the two. It can be a lot more detail of you going into. It could be like kind of variation of cover letter, but just specifically addressing a wider audience. Space isn't an issue, okay? Not like your resume. Space is an issue on a resume, but not on LinkedIn, okay? You can also have in this like images, pictures, links. There's lots of things you can put in here. People put resumes into here. Totally do that. Experience section, okay? It's modeled after your resume. So title, company, dates. Information is laid out in bullet point format with action verbs, just like on your resume, because we don't want to read a book when we're on here. So action bullet points help break that up. Make sure you're using the correct tense, past tense, current tense for the positions whether you currently work there or not. Measurable data is just as important here as it is on your resume. Like, because companies are recruiting on here, if they don't have access to your resume, you got to make sure this is at least equal to, if not better than, your resume. And then the nice part about LinkedIn is you can showcase your examples. So you can attach like awards, certificates, trainings that you've participated in, all kinds of stuff. As you can see, I've got like awards that I've received here that for my positions. And so you can showcase those examples a lot more. And here's the important thing I want to caution you. If you have less information here than on your resume, this communicates two things to a recruiter. It says either that you just don't care about your online image, which is a negative, or that you're just lazy or you procrastinate, which is also a negative. Or it could be both too, right? And so step number 6, make sure your education section's up to date. You want to make sure you're stating the degree as well as the major. Okay, no, if you say bachelor's of what? Associates of science, associates of arts, bachelor's of science, bachelor's of arts. There's a difference between them, as well as your major. Only list schools that you graduated from. That just confuses everybody when we have schools listed there we didn't graduate from. You can also emphasize other accomplishments from in school, maybe projects you worked on, examples of your schoolwork. Maybe you worked on like this important like case study, and so you're able to present that. You can definitely do that. You can, the coursework or classes you've taken, don't include the numbers, just the name of the course or the class. Societies, clubs, activities. Did you get any certifications or licenses in schooling? Included all in here. Okay, this section could be huge. You can see, obviously, I have some accomplishments, some awards that I won for the papers I wrote while I was in my MBA. So that's an example that I have included there. Okay, skills, endorsements, and recommendations. You want to have at least 5, in my opinion, to start, but you can do more. They have to give you like a skills quiz that you can take, and it will generate more there. As far as like endorsement recommendations, I remember my first law of networking, like you want to serve people because you want to be somebody that's a serving person. Well, if you want people to endorse your skills or to write recommendations for you, go out and give recommendations or go out and serve people. And so that way, and then they're going to be inclined to want to reach out to you. You can, of course, ask them if they can endorse you, but it's so much better if you endorse them and then ask. And then you're kind of, it's a pay it forward system. Connections. Okay, this is not Facebook, so we want to make sure that we're not just connecting because someone asks us to connect or wants to connect with us. Okay, I usually want to know the people you're connecting with because they are going to be associated with your brand when recruiters look at you, because they can search your friends to see who you're friends with. With that said, you do need at least 50 to be for employers to actually find you. So you need to get that up to 50. It's not hard. It's just, it takes, a couple hours of work, and it will slowly snowball from there. You'll be able, just like on Facebook, if your friend people tell people, hey, this is people you could potentially know. It's the same thing here on LinkedIn. You want to make sure that you get your thing to all-star status. It's just a little bar that appears on your dashboard and it'll say all-star. And LinkedIn will ask you to promote this, and it will give you suggestions on how to improve this. It's a big deal because you're 40% more likely to appear in when people are searching you for recruiters if your account is at all-star. So how do we get to all-star? Well, you need like a headshot and a headline. You got to have a summary or about us section, at least 2 positions with experiences listed under them. Got to have an education section, at least 3 skills and 50 connections. So everything that I've covered here, and you'll be at an all-star status. You want to make sure too that you're open to recruiters. I don't know why people put privacy settings when no one can look up their information. It's like, why did you create this account if no one can find you? Okay, so go to select open to work and get started. It's going to be right under your headline at the top of your page. And you can select what job titles or even what locations you have in mind. You can indicate if you're willing to commute or if you're willing to move, right? There's lots of different things you can select there. You can tell recruiters that you're looking for, or like you can specific tell the recruiters you're looking, or you can tell your community on LinkedIn that you're looking, and then your network can help work for you. And so one thing too is to determine what you want to make sure you're visible. Go to your settings and privacy section. Okay, it's going to be near the top, and you click on visibility as well as, and you can see other privacy settings in there. If your account's not visible, it's just like, what are you hiding? Okay, why are you not wanting to make it visible? Okay, why are you even doing this if you're not making it visible? And then lastly, again, this is not your typical social media, so please keep off the funny, family, playful, especially politics content away from here. This is your professional portfolio. Let's make sure that it's professional, okay? Showcase accomplishments, education, professional interests only. This is also a place where you can share your credentials and credibility, but be protective of yourself, all right? LinkedIn allows a lot more than just content too. You can upload videos, you can upload photos, infographics, certifications, diplomas, articles, previous work examples, you name it. Pretty much anything that relates to your field can probably be put on LinkedIn. And so it's just a great asset to have in your back pocket. And that's it for this video. Thank you for watching, and we will see you later.